The space rocket landed in 1938. No one knew where it had come from. Nothing in it survived. Still, the U.S. Army took cellular samples from the corpse within, experimented with them, and by the time World War II began, added them to their experimental super soldier formula, hoping to create a champion of liberty. They injected the formula into a 4F volunteer, one whose name I cannot here reveal, and exposed him to a massive jolt of solar radiation. Given what they knew of the alien cells, the scientists had some clue as to how this might affect the test subject, but no one expected him to be granted powers and abilities so far beyond those of mortal men. What am I reading? Does this origin sound familiar to some of you and familiar to the other half of you as well? It's Super Soldier, and this is Amalgam Comics. This is part 3 in my series on DC vs. Marvel. When we last left our heroes, the two brothers symbolizing the DC and Marvel universes had been joined together by Axis into one solid universe composed of parts of both. And so we have here Super Soldier, who is Superman mixed with Captain America, two of my favorite characters. And the baby in the rocket, of course, was Superman. Of course, it's very sad that he was dead, but they took his cells and put it in the Steve Rogers Super Soldier formula. So it's basically Captain America, Steve Rogers with the powers of Superman. And they made his indestructible shield in the S shape just because comics. The story is being told by Jimmy Olsen, Cub Reporter. And, oh yeah, I should explain. Amalgam Comics, they published a whole month of these in between issues 3 and 4 of DC vs. Marvel. I'll be taking a look at two of them, Super Soldier and this one, Legends of the Dark Claw, which is Batman mixed with Wolverine. Some of the others include Amazon, which is Wonder Woman and Storm, Spider-Boy, should be pretty obvious, Superboy and Spider-Man, JLX, which is the JLA and the X-Men. You can see a lot here, Aquaman mixed with, I guess, Submariner maybe, that's the Ray and Cyclops, that's Quicksilver and Impulse. Just a whole bunch of people mixed together. You got Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is Bruce Wayne and Batman got split into two separate characters. So you got a Bruce Wayne and you got Batman mixed with a different character. He's mixed with Nick Fury here. So that was Amalgam, and it was a really interesting little experiment where it was creative teams from both sides of the aisle. Sometimes you'd have a DC writer and a Marvel artist, but they go back and forth all the time anyway. So let's dive into Super Soldier. So Jimmy Olsen, Cub Reporter, was found watching the Super Soldier trial, and they caught him, the military people, and so they didn't turn him in. He struck a deal where he wouldn't reveal their secret if they let him be Super Soldier's press flag. There was no Bucky Barnes, no need for a sidekick when he's got the powers of Superman. And here he is just casually lifting a tank over his head. So, yeah, by March of 1942, Super Soldier had all but won the war single-handedly, until the Nazis came up with their super robot, Ultra Metallo. You see fighting him here. And it wasn't a plane that crashed, it was fighting Ultra Metallo that he crashed into the icy waters and was lost for, several years until, I don't think it's revealed what team it is that finds him in this universe, because there isn't really a JLA Avengers. I think it's JLX are the ones who find him. That makes sense to me. But I think JLX is an offshoot of another team that didn't actually get their own book. Anyway, we jump to the present, and Jimmy Olsen is an old man who's been kidnapped by Hydra, who is being led by Lex Luthor mixed with Red Skull, forming the Green Skull, because he's been working with K radiation all this time, so he's been infected with kryptonite radiation, which is what you'll find out is what powers Ultra Metallo. For some reason, they let Jimmy go so that he can come into Steve's office, so he's the Superman. And he lets him know that Hydra's out there, and his only clue is Washington at 4. And so, in a classic Superman style, artist Steve Rogers slips away and becomes Super Soldier. And I love that, pulling the shirt apart to reveal the costume beneath. Classic Superman thing. So the way this works is the standard Luthor thing. The world views Luthor as a scientist and philanthropist, and only Superman, only Super Soldier knows that he's a bad guy. That's how the Luthor thing usually works. Yeah, 5 decades he was frozen until the JLA found him and thawed him out. I think it's Justice League Avengers, something along those lines. But it's not revealed in this book what that actually stands for. And he says, "Damn you, Luthor, 5 decades. That's how long I was frozen till the JLA found me, thawed me out into a world without justice. Into a world where I'm gradually getting weaker while you and your secret Hydra cartel grow stronger and stronger. The public thinks you're a reclusive saint. Only I know that you were behind Ultra Metallo. You wanted me out of the way so you could profit from the war in your own timetable. Rather than try to prove it, I went toe-to-toe with your creation armed with overconfidence. That cost me victory, and worse, cost the world the chance to be free of your evil for the next half-century. That's a shame I'll make up for if it takes my dying breath." So he flies off into action. He's flying, and classic Superman pose. Why does he need an indestructible shield if he's already indestructible? That doesn't make much sense. But these were just kind of for fun, so, you know, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I expect that is a question anyone would have. So the Washington at 4 clue refers to the Washington Monument and the shadow that it points to at 4 o'clock, which luckily leads right to the Hydra base. So he crashes into the Hydra base, and you can see bullets bouncing off the shield, but they're bouncing off him too, so again, it's completely pointless. But he is shocked to find Luthor there. And he says, "Wow, Luthor, I caught you in Hydra headquarters. I'm going to expose you now." "Well, no, you're not, because here's Ultra Metallo. We dug him up out of the ice, and now you got to deal with him all over again." And you couldn't beat Ultra Metallo the first time because, of course, he's powered by kryptonite radiation. But he's enacting his original plan, which was to basically stomp over to the White House and kill President Roosevelt. Or Eisenhower, whoever was president at the time of World War II. Sorry, I'm not up on my world history. So Super Soldier fights the robot and is knocked away time and again. Until this time when he's just getting smashed around by the robot. There's not much to say until the robot exposes its kryptonite heart. He still hasn't discovered that kryptonite weakens him in this world. But he's finally knocked into a bunch of lead pipes which give him a second wind, and he figures out enough to realize the lead will block the radiation. And so, yeah, after being knocked over, that's pretty much just pages and pages of him attacking the robot and getting knocked away, until finally he's on the steps of the White House when Super Soldier rams a lead pipe through its heart, encasing the kryptonite bomb within the lead, and then he can finally take care of the robot. He takes the pipe out and throws it up, and away. So they love to work in things from both universes. And Luthor says, "Well, I'll just trigger the bomb." And he says, "Well, I wouldn't if I were you." And he's like, "Well, why not? You're still weak. You can't hold me back. Fine. Be my guest." As the bomb lands right at Luthor's feet. "You go ahead and trigger that bomb, Luthor." "No, it's not fair. I've waited 50 years for my chance to take you down. 50 years. That makes 2 of us, Luthor. Let's go." So the front page of the Daily Planet is Luthor exposed. And Super Soldier is looking forward to a future where he may be getting weaker, but the cause of justice needs its champion. Yeah. We can both rest well for the moment. Still, the war against Hydra isn't over. Luthor's forces will no doubt rise again to plague mankind. But the day that war begins anew, the front lines will belong to Super Soldier. And says the battle never ends. And this is a fun thing. They actually did letter columns where they made up letter writers and they made up editors to answer the letters, and that was a lot of fun. This was long enough. I think I'll tackle the Dark Claw comic. Yeah, there's not much to this one, honestly. You basically take Wolverine and Batman, but it's Batman without the Bruce Wayne parts. He is a millionaire, but it's mostly Logan's story. The Weapon X is here. He has a Batman costume, and he has the claws, and he has his mutant healing factor, and he's a little bit of a detective, but that's really not a big part of the story. But here is his opponent. There's a better picture on the next page. The Hyena, who is the Joker mixed with Sabretooth. I love these double-page spreads. You only get this in comics. And it's Larry Hama, who is a very prolific Wolverine writer, but not the best. Notice his claws have these little bat-shaped serrations in them. That's kind of cute. And this is the kind of 90s comics you can honestly ignore. It's just a lot of gunfire and fighting, and there isn't, that much fun to it. Here we have Sparrow, who is Robin. Well, it's Jubilee in a Robin costume. That's literally all it is. So they pretty much, Jubilee was Wolverine's sidekick during the 90s. They had a lot of adventures together. Here he has his clawcopter, I guess you'd call it. Yeah. Because of course he can't fly. This is pretty funny, actually. Here we have Huntress mixed with Sharon Carter, I think, is who's breaking into Logan's penthouse. This is the art that Logan produces. It's very feral, all these slash marks, and yet no one ever can tell that he's Darkclaw. No one has pieced this together. And he's really not hiding it. Like, he doesn't have, well, he has a claw cave, but right here in his bedroom are just his costumes sitting in his regular closet. There aren't even any regular clothes in there. It's just Darkclaw costumes in his regular bedroom closet. There's a lot of pictures on the desk. One of them is a photo of Logan and Creed, the guy who turns into Sabretooth, Hyena. And so Darkclaw comes home and he finds Huntress messing up all his stuff, getting into it, and so he decides, what the hell, I'm not going to kill you, I may as well tell you the whole story. So he tells her about the Weapon X program, and you probably recognize these tanks here where they got the adamantium put into them. And Hyena, they got just what they wanted. And Hyena is literally just the Joker's face on the Sabretooth character. There's not too much of the Joker in there. So it's more like the visual trappings of Batman pasted onto the Wolverine comic, which you would expect from Larry Hama. I don't remember, he's probably written a few Batman stories here and there, but he's mostly a Wolverine writer. But here is the Claw Cave with more costumes and a giant picture of his parents, so that's a Batman nod. He calls it the Barrow, or the Burrow, because, that's where Wolverines live, is a burrow. And here you can see Jubilee looks pretty good in the Robin costume. And her name is Sparrow. And I don't know if she has powers. If she does, she never uses them. She's just kind of an acrobatic partner. But they figure out Hyena's planning to attack the president. So we go to Air Force One, and by using a cable, he's able to board Air Force One through the wheel well. And we'll be on the plane from here on out. Yeah, good thing aircraft aluminum is no match for adamantium. So it's still adamantium. So he breaks in, tries to warn the president's security staff, Hyena's going to attack you, and this is the thanks he gets for it. He gets riddled with bullets from the president's security staff. But seconds later, the Hyena in fact does attack, proving him right. He throws on a gas bomb, threatening the president and everything, but yeah. Darkclaw's solution to this is to rip a giant hole in the aircraft, letting all the gas out. What are you going to do about the depressurized aircraft, Wolverine? I don't think that's the best solution to this. But it's a comic, and that's really not the point. The decompression of the plane blows him and Hyena both out of the giant hole he just made. Hyena thought ahead and brought a parachute. Darkclaw did not, so he's just in free fall now. But luckily, Sparrow is right there with the clawcopter, and she's able to bring it in and bank for a turn, and he grabs onto the wheel, and that's where the comic ends. This is just meant to be one little issue out of what is giving you the idea of a much larger story. And here's the letter column, Shred 'em and Weep. See, I forget what was the name of the letter column, Super Soldier. Just Mail Call, which fits into the soldier theme. So that's Amalgam Comics, and next time we'll finish up the DC vs. Marvel series, and be issue 4. We'll finally resolve and see how these two brothers, symbolizing each multiverses, managed to live in peace, because obviously neither one got destroyed. But I hope you've enjoyed this, if anyone watched it at all, and I thank you for your time.